Competition Consumers Protection Commission moves to resolve electricity consumers' complaints in PHEDC coverage areas. Nigeria Immigration Service, Cross River State Command arrests illegal migrants with arms in Etung local government area. Plus, National Senior Citizen Center to provide cash grant to vulnerable persons across the country. Details shortly. Good evening and welcome to the news at 7. I am Cecilia Julius. Now to the news in full. Governor of Cross River State, Professor Ben Ayade, is advocating for a change of the source of energy in Nigeria from gas to power and solar and hydro in order to stop the prevalent poor supply of electricity in the country. The governor stated this during the visit of the Executive Vice Chairman, Federal Competition and Consumers Protection Commission at his office in Calabar. Paul Abel reports.
Privatization of electricity is intended to make it available, but that purpose is yet to be achieved, as several years after, it is not only available, but consumers complain of exploitation with epileptic power supply and outrageous bills from distribution companies. Governor Ben Ayade is not exempted from this complaint at his private residence, and even the governor's office has been without public power supply for 7 years. Therefore, he advocates for new laws to allow private investors to invest in power generation, transmission, and distribution.
Power has taken over the cost of everything, and everything is lying prostrate in this country, occasioned by power. So gradually, as you see the exacerbation of tension and crisis, youth restiveness accumulating in a situation where we might have a very major crisis in this country, an absolute cataclysm originating from lack of power. I think the structure, the way and manner to which power was, these facilities were ceded to these people, they were done without control measures.
I'm hopeful that with these types of conversations and engagement, we might be on the cusp of some kind of change to how the entire ecosystem works.
The Consumer Protection Commission will also interface with consumers and distribution companies in a town hall meeting to bring about transparency in electricity supply. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
Addressing billing, metering, and other electricity consumer issues in Nigeria is a step by the Federal Competition and Consumers Protection Commission, FCCPC, aimed at ensuring solutions and protection of rights of all consumers. Uduak Etem reports that this was the focus of a 4-day electricity consumer complaint resolution session held in Calabar to support public interest.
Electricity is a major contributor to the nation's economic development, and its affordability and availability is greatly influenced by the billing and metering system. In this session, electricity consumers in Calabar are lamenting challenges encountered with the Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company while seeking solutions to the constraints for improved power supply.
Transformer is our problem, so we have to pay $1 million for them to give us a transformer, and we provide 700,000 to balance them 300,000 for the transformer. But up till now, we don't have transformer.
Billing me estimated bill 5,000, sometimes 8,000, sometimes 12,000, sometimes 18,000 for light that I would even see.
For 3 weeks, that NEPA gave us like 10 hours in a day. They gave me a bill of 577,086 naira.
To protect consumers' rights and responsibility, the Executive Vice Chairman of the Federal Competition and Consumers Protection Commission and other stakeholders are charging electricity distribution companies to be sensitive to the plight of consumers by being transparent in their dealings with them.
This platform should not be ad hoc. It should be a standing channel where the consumers can provide feedback to the service provider, and the service provider can be more responsive and sensitive to the needs of the consumer.
This is the first time that we're having this kind of platform where issues can actually be brought to the fore.
I would say customers that complain of excessive billing, they have the window to be sure of what they are consuming is what they are paying for.
FCCPC is the agency of the federal government with the mandate to protect Nigerian people. In Calabar, Uduak Etam, NTA News.
Residents and commuters flying Calabar into Federal Highway are already exhaling following the dualization project, which is in top shape. Kelvin Samuel reports that the Akwa Ibom State section of the road is already wearing a new look, and hitherto, long journeys have been shortened.
In the past, a journey from Akwa Ibom State to Cross River State was described by commuters as horrifying due to the bad state of the road. But the situation today is fast changing with ongoing dualization of the road, all thanks to the federal government of Nigeria. For the people, this is heartwarming.
We also thank the presidents of the country by thinking that this area of Calabar to Highway should be dualized.
Well, it's a welcome development. We are impressed.
We are so much happy in the work that they are working.
Immediate past senior special assistant to the president on Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Itain Amwayi, inspecting the project, which he is passionate about, assures of the president's promise to complete the project.
Mr. President is committed to delivering on most of the projects, including this. President Muhammadu Buhari has delivered on infrastructure and other things.
Work is about 25% completion, and you have seen at least the part in Akwa Ibom for yourself.
This project on completion is expected to improve the socio-economic lives of the people of Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Abia, and adjoining states. In Uyo, Kelvin Samuel, NTA News.
The Nigeria Union of Journalists Cross River State chapter has frowned at the lingering strike actions embarked upon by ASU, SANU, and NASU, which have brought untold hardship and frustration to staff and students of the nation's university system. It therefore calls on the federal government to return to the negotiating table with a view to resolving the crisis and save the system from total collapse. This was contained in a communique of Congress of the state NUJ recently held in Calabar. On the current wave of insecurity across the country, the Congress urges the federal government to demonstrate greater commitment and political will by deploying all security apparatus at its disposal for the protection of lives and property of the citizenry. You're watching news reaching you live from the studio of NTA Calabar. You can watch this newscast on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/NTA Calabar. A break now, the news continues shortly. Welcome back. It's good to know you are still with us. Now to the rest of the news. The Nigeria Immigration Service has arrested 3 out of the 4 illegal migrants into the country. The suspects were arrested when the border patrol officers of the Mfum Border Command, Cross River State, intercepted a cyclist carrying 2 passengers of Cameroon into a community in Etum local government area. A statement from the Comptroller of Immigration Service indicates that the suspects were found with bag containing locally made pistol, 3 live ammunition, charms, and Techno BC3 Android phone. The suspects say they were 4 in number and one of them left before they were arrested. According to the statement, preliminary investigation before handing the suspect to police revealed that one of them is a Cameroonian who is a member of the Ambazonia separatist group in Cameroon, while the other are Nigerians. The High Court of Akwa Ibom State, sitting in Uyo, has convicted and sentenced to death by hanging Uduak Akpan, the murderer of a 21-year-old job seeker in Nyobong in Moren, The trial judge, Justice Basi Nkanang, discharged and acquitted the second and third defendants. Clement Barikui reports.
The atmosphere around the court premises was tensed with heavy presence of security personnel. In the courtroom, Justice Basi Nkenang, in his judgment, delivered for over 2 hours, held that the first defendant, Udag Akpan, is guilty of the 2 counts as charged and therefore sentenced him to death by hanging for murder and life imprisonment for rape. The second defendant, who is the father of the convict, and the third defendant, their sister, were discharged and acquitted of the 2 counts preferred against them. Meanwhile, a mild drama ensued in court when the convict attempted to escape shortly after the court pronounced death sentence on him.
Me not stop without commending the Nigerian police force and the officers of the DSS for the very diligent investigation that they carried out in this case. They did such great jobs.
It's a landmark case, and we don't need to say much. Justice has been done, and this shows that crime does not pay.
The work of a defense counsel is not to defend at all costs, it's to ensure that all the rules of procedures are followed. That we've done.
You would agree with my lord that indeed the second and third, that's the father and daughter, had no complexity in this matter.
26-year-old Inyobong Morin, a graduate of University of Uyo, was lured for a job interview on the outskirts of Uyo by Uduagakpan, now the convict, in April 2021, who ended up raping and killing the job seeker.
Wherever my sister is, you'll be very happy to have justice for our death.
At least make other people around there to know that we still have justice for common people like us.
With this verdict, the 9-month-old case at the trial court has been put to rest. In Uyo, Clement Barikui, NTA News.
The Commissioner of Police, Akwa Ibom State Police Command, Olatoye Durunsimi, has received with great delight the news of the conviction of Uduak Frank Akpan, the notorious rapist and murderer. A statement by the PPRO Police State Headquarters, Uyo, says the suspect, who was arrested by the State Police Command on 30th April 2021 in connection with the raping and murder of Inyobong Umoren, has been convicted and sentenced to death by hanging by the High Court, vindicating the stance of the police. The CP applauds the Nigeria Police Akwa Ibom State Command for the swift arrest and thorough investigation, as well as judiciary for its dexterity. He, however, says the police are committed to sparing no resources in ensuring that the police will bring to book perpetrators of violent crimes and other forms of criminalities in the states. The National Senior Citizen Center is commending the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, for the inclusion of older persons as beneficiaries of the one-off cash grant to the poorest and most vulnerable persons in rural areas across the country. Director General NSCC, Dr. Amen Omokaro, said the center is granted a facilitation of 70 older persons in each state of the Federation to benefit from the 20,000 Naira one-off cash grants. This statement is contained in a statement by the head Corporate Affairs, Media and Communications, Omini Oden, says the disbursement of the one-off cash grants is being flagged off nationwide by the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, will boost the income and productive assets of the target beneficiaries, which is the objective of the initiative. Now to the world of sports. Next is Sport Updates with Peter Obio as our guide.
The federal government has made cash rewards to Team Nigeria weightlifters who made podium finishes at the ongoing Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. 2 gold medalists received $5,000 each. $3,000 went to 1 silver medalist, while 3 bronze medalists got $2,000. Even as their coaches, 2 in number, received $3,000 each, totaling $25,000. Correspondent Kene Ima Abudike reports that Nigerians chaired the mission to the Games, Simon Ewodiaye, who stood in for the Minister of Sport and Youth Development at the brief ceremony, echoed the ministry's instant positive reinforcement as huge motivation for the athletes.
These successes would not have been possible, but without the cooperation and support of your coaches who brought you up to this extent. I know that you have put in so much, and with every good hard work, the result shows.
Meanwhile, having made Nigerian proud in Birmingham, some Nigerian podium finisher in weightlifting are calling for the early preparation ahead of future engagement in order to sustain the tempo.
For weightlifting, be rest assured we're on top of our game. Is a very dynamic process that we have now, and the process will lead to something prosperous for the entire country and the weightlifting family.
In football, the Nigeria Under-20 girls, the Falconets, on Thursday evening departed Nigeria ahead of this year's FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup, scheduled for 10th to 28th of August in Costa Rica. Nigeria's first match of the competition will be against France. With sports updates, I am Peter Oibo, NTA News.
And with sports updates wraps up our bulletin for tonight. But before we go, a recap of major stories. The Federal Competition Consumers Protection Commission has taken steps to resolve electricity consumers' complaints in PHEDC coverage areas at a 4-day complaint session held in Calabar. Nigeria Immigration Service Cross River State Command has arrested illegal migrants with arms in Etum local government area. It was also in the news that the National Senior Citizen Center is to provide cash grants to vulnerable persons across the country. That's it for tonight. I am Cecilia Julius. Do have a good night.